Welcome to At Home with DDR, the travel edition, the show designed to inspire you to live life abundantly. This season, my family and I hit the open road to discover compelling ways people live, eat, work, and play in different communities throughout America. So come experience life on the road on At Home with DDR. And now we're off through the Pacific Northwest to Oregon. We'll visit Coos Bay, where Christopher steps into history for a personal tour aboard the Hawaiian Chieftain, a tall ship armed with cannons. And I find my way to Seven Devils Brewing Company to see what the hype's all about.
And cheers to this.
Local art unfolds before our eyes as we get an inside look at the only place in America that myrtle wood is found and carved into exquisite designs.
Wow, it's absolutely beautiful.
We try our luck at local crabbing.
Is it gonna bite me?
And Christopher gets a lesson in jigging on Odell Lake.
Who's driving the boat? Oh!
High in the Oregon mountains, we discover the beauty and diversity of the Willamette Pass. And finally, Christopher and Savannah take a spin across the most expansive coastal sand dunes in America.
So come join the adventure. At Home with DDR starts right now.
The beauty of the Pacific Northwest is that when you arrive, it really is everything one may imagine. From miles of coastal sand dunes to endless ridgelines of treasured evergreens, the backdrop of Oregon has long nurtured its art and culture. Built on a beautiful Pacific Ocean bay amid lush emerald forests is the largest city along the Oregon coastline. It's the seaside community of Coos Bay. Settled by European Americans in the mid-1800s, this region remained rather isolated until 1916, when a rail line allowed for the fishing, crabbing, and logging industries to expand their business inland. Today, Coos Bay maintains its all-world character while welcoming some New World inspiration, and we have finally arrived at Oceanside Beachfront RV Resort to take it all in. Oh wow, okay, so I had to get up pretty early this morning. I've left Chris and the girls in the RV to come down and see the beach and the beautiful Oregon coastline fog. It's something that you have to experience in person. It's just rolling in, and that's what you hear about Oregon. It has this mysterious fog, and it's absolutely beautiful. And I also heard from a local that it was a negative tide today, and that means it's out further than it has been for the last few mornings. In fact, the water would come up to here when we've been walking along the coastline. But take a look, it is so far out. It's absolutely incredible, and it's the perfect place to come and see all of the sea wildlife. So let's go to explore. So this is the cool thing about coming out early in the morning. I've caught up with Michael. He's one of the managers here at Oceanside Beachfront RV Resort, and he's out here wandering, looking around, so he's gonna be like my little guide to show me all this beauty. That is so beautiful. Once the family was up and the sun came out, we wanted to get hands-on in this environment. Look at all these old boats. Aren't they beautiful?
When you visit Oregon, you gotta go crabbing.
Okay, perhaps hands-on was a bit of wishful thinking. Grab a fish and put it in the net. 2, 3! But not with these guys. Dungeness crabs by the bucket, by the boatload, and by the bay. They're a popular delicacy, making them the most commercially important crab in these waters.
Oh,
heavy?
yeah. Full.
Whoa! Every time! Woo! That's amazing! Look at all the crabs!
I can't believe how many crabs we caught.
After a wonderful morning of catching and releasing these Dungeness crabs, Christopher had a date with history aboard a tall ship.
Well, we thought we were going to be coming out here today with a whole group of people, but it looks like we have the Hawaiian Chieftain all to ourselves.
And as the crew was preparing to depart, I had a moment to chat with the feisty first mate.
Everyone comes down and sees these ships and goes, wow, it's a pirate ship. No, it's not. This is a merchant ship. This is what built this country. This is what built the West Coast, the East Coast. This is how we got everything. You know, if you look at these hills over here, imagine having 150 logs and needing them to carry them over there. That's gonna be pretty difficult on a ship. Not really. Load them on the ship, go over there, take them off. This was the highway. This was the interstate system. So this is the interstate system of Coos Bay before the interstate was here.
That's a good way of looking at it.
This is where all the commerce was coming in and out.
Commerce or not, either way you look at it, it takes a skilled captain to navigate the Hawaiian Chieftain throughout Coos Bay. And that comes with the responsibility of managing its crew as well. Introducing one Captain Red.
One of the things I really like about the atmosphere on board these ships is that it still has that mentality of when a ship leaves from port, they are self-reliable and independent. They can fix what's on board. They have the skill and means to repair what they need to while at sea.
Yes.
In this very modern 2-day Amazon shipping kind of day, you know, something breaks, you buy a new one.
Yeah.
Something breaks on board here,
You fix it.
we fix it. You take care of the ship first, she'll take care of you. You take care of your shipmates, they'll take care of you. You take care of yourself, you take care of everybody. So it really is. It's a really great thing.
And as I continued to chat with and watch this crew work, I learned what a great thing this whole effort is. Operated by Grays Harbor Historical Seaport Authority, this ship, along with another, Lady Washington, are the pillars, or masts, of a nonprofit community focused on maritime education and conservation. So as we made our way back to port, I had one request.
Run out the starboard gun!
Run out the starboard gun!
So we pack a charge full of gunpowder, and then right now they have a very fine gunpowder and an ember.
Oh, the winds were fierce and the seas ran high. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. She shipped it green and none went by, and it's time for us to leave her.
Spending the morning aboard the Hawaiian Chieftain inspired me to dive a bit deeper into the history of boating here in Coos Bay. And where better to learn than at the Boat Building Center, where Mr. Tom Greaves is working to preserve the history of maritime activity in the region.
That's what we're all about. We intend as our mission to perpetuate the maritime history that we have in our Bay Area over the last 100 and more years. And from the time the Native Americans had their canoes on the water and until contemporary times. But many of the things that you see are boats that we just finished, and we have some replicas of some boats that were made in the 1930s that were all over the bay. The crabbing skiff or the Coos Bay sailing skiff made in the 1930s.
Which is what you're leaning up against now?
Yeah, and this is not a kit boat. It was from scratch, it's called.
Wow.
And there's so many interesting parts and stories to this. There's some trees that are from our own forest lands that are in this boat.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And there's many people and volunteers over the last 4 or 5 years building this. Sometimes as amateur boat builders we get stuck, but then somebody would enter into our volunteer organization and bring us to that next step in order to continue the project. There's so many aspects to the Boat Building Center. We have kids coming down here that 4 and 5 years old, and people in their 70s and 80s all working together, you know, in all age groups.
Yeah.
So volunteers are essential to this organization.
For more information about the Boat Building Center, please visit coosbayboats.org. Coming up after the break, Didier tastes the local brew at Seven Devils Brewery and learns about carving art from the local myrtlewood tree. Don't go away. At Home with Didier, we'll be right back.
Well, it's obvious after spending a few days in Coos Bay that its history is still very much alive. But today, I have the opportunity to learn how a community here is building its future. And at Seven Devils Brewery, they're doing it with beer. How did this all come together for you? Because this is a pretty cool place, and the locals say this is the place to come.
Coos Bay is my home, and I just really wanted to be a part of making it what I want it to be.
Yeah.
And so my wife and I shared this vision, and actually before we met, we both had a passion for home brewing. And so that was one of the things that kind of brought us together, was our passion for craft beer and for home brewing. And from that, we started sharing our dreams and different things that we wanted to do in the future, and both of us had wanted to open up a pub someday in Coos Bay. And so it was
awesome.
it was pretty much destined that we would have to do this.
I can see the twinkle in your eye when you talk about beer, and I hear you're doing something really unique with it.
We do a what we call the Coos Head Co-op
Oh,
Ale.
I like that.
And what it is it's a fundraiser for our local co-op, but we also use hops that are grown in backyards. So there's all kinds of avid home brewers around the area and local farmers and growers, and so we take their hops and we make this community beer, and then the proceeds of that go to our local co-op.
I've never witnessed a community that has come together on such a grand scale as much as Coos Bay. Like, this place is humming with connectivity.
Absolutely.
And how the community wants to work and interwork with each other on so many different levels. It's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, this pub was partially funded by the communities. So we did this thing as a program that we called the Investor Pint Program, or iPints for short. And what we did is, when we were getting started, we sold a pint glass similar to this, said Seven Devils Brewing Company Investor on it, for $100.
Okay.
Now, that $100 entitled the investor to a free pint of beer every week for a year.
Wow.
And as they come in, they get their free pint, but all of the money raised by those sales goes to just local art.
Awesome.
And so that's the way we did it at the beginning. So we bought things like light fixtures and paintings and, handmade wooden tables, various things like that. So when people walk in, they're like, oh, Coos Bay really has a lot of art to provide.
And they really do. This place is fun. I had a wonderful time dining with Carmen and learning about his passion for brewing community and beer. Well, cheers, Carmen. Thank you so much for sharing this with me.
Thank you.
Absolutely
Absolutely.
wonderful. I love when we come to a new city because I can always find new artists to talk with. I love art, and something that I found very interesting was Myrtle Wood. And here at the House of Myrtle Wood, they're taking pieces of wood and turning it into beautiful art. Let's go take a look. Due to its distinct color range and density, Oregon myrtle is highly sought after by luthiers and woodworkers alike. And I was here to experience the art behind the work. How long has the House of Myrtle Wood been around?
The House of Myrtle Wood originally opened in 1929, and in 2007, Star of Hope took over, which is a nonprofit supporting adults with developmental disabilities here in Coos County. It's really about getting people with disabilities integrated into the community.
What a noble cause. It definitely brings out the sincerity in the art. But it was time for me to see the process in action. First, woodworker Edwin showed me how to select a piece of wood, mark the outlines, and cut it down to size. Can you hear me, Edwin?
Yes, I sure can. You know it. All right.
Ah, you make that look so easy. Look at that. That's awesome. Once we had the cylinder, it was time to form the basic bowl shape.
All right. So you might want to be careful. Make sure you have your eyes.
Okay.
And shavings are going to fly everywhere.
Sounds good. Ooh, yeah, they are.
Told you.
That's so cool. You can totally see the bowl taking shape.
Yeah.
So that's really roughing the bowl out.
That is correct. And then after you get done, we have a barrel that we place it in because we want to make sure you have that moisture in there. Then we stick it in our drying room, wait 4 months, and then we'll start doing the finished turning.
4 months.
That's correct.
Okay, we're not going to wait for 4 months, people. We're going to get a new piece of wood and we're going to see what happens next, right?
That is correct, and that's where Ray comes in.
Awesome, let's do it. And Ray's dedication and years of experience carefully guided the bowl into its final shape. Wow, it's absolutely beautiful. And finally, the bowl revisits Edwin for some sanding and one thing that really brings the wood to life. mineral oil. If you'd like to learn more about the House of Myrtlewood, you can always go to our website, athomewithdidier.com. Would you like to learn more about any of the great destinations we've visited or dive a bit deeper into some of the topics on the show? Then we've got a destination for you. Visit athomewithdidier.com. There you'll find a world of ideas and inspiration designed to give you insights towards a happier, healthier lifestyle. Again, that's athomewithdidier.com. When we come back, I visit the historic Egyptian Theater, and Christopher and Savannah take a ride on the coastal sand dunes. And later, we head east into the mountains. Don't go away. At Home with Didier will be right back. Coos Bay is also keeping its art alive through a little piece of history. This time, it can be found at the Egyptian Theater, where I learned from the knowledgeable and talented David Engholm. It's so wonderful to sit with you, David, in the Egyptian Theater. I really feel like we've taken a step back in time, and it's a very significant theater here in Coos Bay. Tell me about the theater itself and why is it so special?
This theater is one of the old movie palaces, and you won't ever see another like it. It's on the National Register of Historic Places. It's also a state landmark here for the state of Oregon. So we were very fortunate to get that historic status to protect it. But we also need the modern generation, the younger generation coming up, to carry that mantle and keep this theater around for another 91 years or another 200 years.
Wow, so the doors opened as a theater in 1925. What was it like back then?
It was a grand event entering a theater, They made these theaters to be palaces. So the working class people could come in and feel, relaxed and everything after working a hard day and view a movie or live entertainment on the stage.
So there was live entertainment, also silent films, but you have this beautiful organ that sits right in the center here. Tell me about the organ and its significance.
Oh, the organ's very significant. They built those to accompany the silent movies. And it was the only sound you would hear in a theater, because back in 1925, you didn't have electronic devices or stereos or anything like that. So this was live music, and it was a whole orchestra at your fingertips.
Interesting, huh? Well, then David took me upstairs to show me how it all works.
Dee, this is the mighty Wurlitzer. You are inside the organ chamber. Nothing here is synthetic. If you hear drums, there's drums up there. There's a tambourine right up here, a cymbal right up there.
So how does it work?
There's a little bit of electricity involved. It's only 12 volts. It's like a bunch of doorbells. It triggers the pneumatics inside there, which are all operated under air, to go ahead and operate their instrument.
All right, let's hear it in action. Take it away, Dave. Wonderful. Thank you, David.
Haha, now there's some history for you. But what's more fun, history or tearing it up in the sand dunes? Welcome to Oregon's Outback.
How's it fit?
Whoa. Put your head back. There you go. No hair now. Smile. Say, yeah.
All right, guys. Daddy, give me a high five. Woo!
High five.
Ha ha ha. We're off.
back, we're going to the mountains to see Odell Lake. And Papa cuts us some dinner with his friend Carl. Don't go away. Our home studio will be right back.
Well, after having such great experiences in Coos Bay, it was time to check out what the mountains had to offer. Our destination? Odell Lake. With its basin carved by an ancient glacier, this lake covers an area of over 3,500 acres and sits at nearly 5,000 feet in elevation. And peacefully placed at the water's edge is a secluded getaway for the adventurous spirit. For one thing in particular, it's the fishing that attracts a certain caliber of angler around here. And on this day, I had the privilege of learning from one of the greats.
Fishing report.
Mr. Carl Bird, as he was evaluating the latest model of his Diamond Dust jigs.
This little thing right here, this is what we troll with. It's called a hoochie.
A hoochie?
Yeah, so I got a jig and a hoochie, so hoochig.
Hoochig, hey, that's inventive.
These have been working really well for me this year.
Okay.
So we will get corned up with our corn soaked in tuna oil.
Well, Carl, you know, I know you're the pro and everything, but I don't want to brag.
Okay.
But I think I caught an old boot.
Yeah, there's a couple of boots down there. I think there's an old guy named Henry down there too. You might have his hat. Just keep steady pressure on him, you'll get him up.
Okay.
Watch that hook.
Look at that, look at you. Wow,
There you go.
I guess it's fair to say the hooch jig is working, alive and well. Look at him.
Oh, got him.
Oh no, I'm just about to brag. I'm just about to brag and say something.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Here he comes. Here he comes.
Oh, here he is.
Coming over. This one's on the pink.
And you know what? This is not a bad way or place to find yourself some dinner. Well, we hadn't expected to arrive and walk directly into Nature Sanctuary, but we did. It was even Savannah's first time to see some of these beautiful creatures in the wild. And yet again, the road was calling. But Oregon wasn't about to wave goodbye without firmly planting itself into our memories. Because you know what? That's where the trail leads.